7 powerful habits seniors can't afford to miss. He thought growing older would just be another phase of life, but the challenges hit like an avalanche. Anxiety, exhaustion, and the crushing sense of helplessness made it feel like everything was falling apart. Until one Father's Day, a simple book gifted by his son changed everything. Mr. David discovered that growing older could be a time of peace, purpose, and renewal. And in today's video, I'll share with you the 7 habits that transformed Mr. David's life and can transform yours too. These aren't drastic changes. They're simple practices that can bring calm and happiness to your daily life. Stay with me until the end, because your inner peace deserves to come first. Welcome. This channel is a special place for anyone who wants to embrace aging with more love, self-care, and purpose. If it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and select all notifications so you don't miss out on any content that could make a difference in your life. 1. Start with small moments of gratitude. Mr. David began to transform his mornings with a seemingly small habit, practicing gratitude. Inspired by the book his son had given him, he started writing down 3 things he was thankful for each morning. At first, it wasn't easy. His mind was still caught up in daily worries and memories of the past that tugged at his heart with a bittersweet ache. It was like carrying an invisible weight, making him wonder if there was still anything to feel grateful for. But Mr. David didn't give up. In the beginning, his list was simple: a home-cooked meal, the sunlight streaming through his window, or the calming sound of Mrs. Thompson's dog padding along the sidewalk during its morning walk. Slowly, those small acknowledgments opened his eyes to something much bigger. He began to see his life in a new light, remembering the small joys that he had once taken for granted: the laughter during family dinners, the smell of the cake his late wife used to bake, and even the privilege of still being able to take a morning stroll. Mr. David also realized that he needed to rethink his interactions. Every morning, he'd bump into a neighbor while walking, someone who would spend the entire chat complaining and lamenting about life. Those conversations, he realized, made everything feel heavier than it really was. So, he gently began to distance himself, prioritizing his newfound practice of intentional and purposeful gratitude. This habit wasn't just about embracing a positive outlook, it was rooted in something deeper. What science says. Neuroscience research shows that practicing gratitude activates areas of the brain tied to happiness and well-being, including the prefrontal cortex. This triggers higher levels of dopamine and serotonin, chemicals often called the feel-good neurotransmitters. These changes don't just lower stress, they also help foster a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Perhaps it's no coincidence that science confirms the power of gratitude, as the Bible has long encouraged us to give thanks. In 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 18, we're reminded to give thanks in all circumstances. Practicing gratitude not only draws us closer to God, but also helps us recognize the blessings already present in our lives. When Mr. David started focusing on gratitude, he found not just peace, but a renewed connection with his faith, realizing that even hardships could carry valuable lessons. 2. Breathe and slow down. Mr. George, a close friend of Mr. David, often felt overwhelmed. Even after retirement, he found himself constantly rushing around, trying to fill his days with tasks and responsibilities. But as time went on, his body began to slow down, and he noticed something unsettling: the feeling that time seemed to pass faster now than it did in the past. This realization brought an almost constant sense of anxiety for Mr. George, paired with a frustrating sense of helplessness. He struggled with not being as active or capable of solving problems as he used to be. One quiet afternoon, during a conversation with Mr. David on the porch, George heard about the practice of mindful breathing for the first time. David shared how dedicating just 5 minutes a day to intentional breathing had made a huge difference in his life. Inspired by his friend, Mr. George decided to give it a try. He began setting aside a moment each day on his own porch, closing his eyes and focusing on each breath, each inhale and exhale. Over time, something extraordinary happened. He described this practice as a dive into an ocean of calm, filling his lungs with hope and renewing his energy to face the challenges of the day. But George's journey didn't stop there. He began to understand something much deeper, respecting the rhythm of his own body and trusting in God's timing and divine order. Each breath became more than a physical act. It turned into a way of aligning his mind and spirit with something greater, a daily exercise of trust and reverence for God's plan. What's even more incredible is how Mr. David, with his gentle and humble approach, became such a positive influence on the lives of other seniors around him. Without trying to be the wisest or most experienced, he simply shared what he had learned little by little with his retired colleagues and neighbors. Naturally, he began planting seeds for new routines and spreading well-being. And just like Mr. David, you too can make a difference by sharing this video with 3 friends in your age group and helping others discover the transformative power of these simple habits. Speaking of transformation, did you know that science has been investigating and confirming the amazing benefits of mindful breathing? What science says? Mindful breathing not only reduces the activation of the amygdala, a region of the brain responsible for stress responses, but also stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation and calm. But there's more. Studies show that this practice has the power to strengthen your immune system. By lowering cortisol levels, the stress hormone, in your body, mindful breathing helps maintain immune balance and reduces the likelihood of common illnesses like colds, flu, and other infections. Science isn't the only voice that highlights the importance of mindful pauses and breathing. Jesus himself demonstrated the value of rest and reflection in his life. In Mark 6 verse 31, he told his disciples, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." These moments of pause, as Mr. George discovered, can be a true recharge for the soul, a source of spiritual strength, and even an act of self-care that reflects divine wisdom. Now that we've explored how breathing can bring calm, boost your immune system, and restore balance to your body and mind, let's move on to the next habit, a habit that connects you to the beauty and renewing power of nature. Stay with me. 3. Connect with nature. You don't always have the chance to be surrounded by nature the way you'd like, especially if you live in a big city or find it hard to leave home. But here's the secret. You don't need to be in a forest or on a trail to feel connected to nature. We are a part of it, and nature has its ways of reaching out to us. It could be the cheerful chirping of a bird outside your window, the small plant you take care of on your balcony, or simply a moment when you look up at the sky and watch the clouds drifting by. Feeling the breeze on your face, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or even the smell of rain after a hot afternoon in the city. These are all ways nature invites us to slow down, breathe, and appreciate the beauty around us. Mrs. Mary, at 72, found her peace in morning walks through the trails of Asheville, North Carolina. Surrounded by towering trees and the melody of birds, each step brought a new sense of renewal to her life. But Mrs. Mary also learned that even when she couldn't go on these walks, nature was still present. She started keeping plants on her windowsill, admiring the sunset in the evening, and letting the fresh air fill her home. These simple moments became her daily reminder that she was never far from the serenity of nature. What science says. Research shows that spending time in nature, even in small ways, reduces cortisol levels, the hormone related to stress, and boosts feelings of calm and well-being. Being around natural elements, even in urban areas, can strengthen your immune system, lowering your chances of catching common illnesses like colds and the flu. Additionally, just looking at the sky or touching a leaf can stimulate areas of the brain linked to happiness and satisfaction. Christian reflection. It's remarkable how science echoes what the Bible has always taught us. In Psalm 19 verse 1, we're reminded that the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Every time Mrs. Mary engaged with nature, whether through the breeze or the sight of clouds moving above, she felt a deeper connection to God's creation. These moments became small acts of worship, reminding her that his peace is always within reach. Now take a moment to reflect. How have you been connecting with nature lately? Is there a plant you could care for? A moment to look up at the sky and enjoy the colors of the sunset? These small practices can become gateways to calmness and a fresh perspective. Are you following along so far? If you're enjoying this content, write the number 10 in the comments below. And if you think we can improve, let us know by typing 1. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. That way, YouTube knows this content is valuable for the senior community and helps us reach even more people. Speaking of connection, our next habit dives into something even more profound: the power of meaningful relationships. Stay with me. It's a conversation that could change the way you see your days ahead. 4. Choose your companions wisely. Do you remember the neighbor Mr. David used to meet in the mornings while practicing his gratitude habit? The one who always brought complaints and grumbling that made life feel heavier than it really was? It was during those encounters that Mr. David began to understand something vital. Knowing how to choose your companions is an essential part of intelligent and healthy aging. He realized that, to protect his peace, he needed to prioritize people who uplifted his energy and contributed positively to his day. Inspired by the book he had received as a gift, Mr. David decided to focus on friendships that made him feel valued, brought positivity into his life, and helped him see the brighter side of things. It wasn't easy at first, but as he sought healthier connections, he felt his confidence start to renew and joy return to his days. Gradually, he formed new social circles where he felt respected and welcomed, and this shift transformed his experience of aging. Studies show that healthy relationships can increase life expectancy, reduce the risk of depression, and activate areas of the brain responsible for feelings of reward and happiness. These connections are not only emotionally fulfilling, they also provide physical and mental health benefits. As Proverbs 13 verse 20 teaches us, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Cultivating uplifting friendships is more than just a practical choice. It's a spiritual act of wisdom that reflects the care God wants us to have for our minds and spirits. Mr. David discovered that flourishing in this stage of life also means surrounding yourself with people who promote peace and growth. Want to learn more? If you'd like to dive deeper into this topic, we have a special video here on the channel about the types of people every senior should avoid. Don't miss it to keep building a lighter and more harmonious approach to aging. 5. Set boundaries to protect your peace. Mr. Fred, a neighbor of Mr. David, was always available to meet the demands of his family, but it left him emotionally and physically drained. He struggled to say no, even when he knew he needed a moment for himself. During a heartfelt conversation, Mr. David, already experienced in protecting his own peace, reminded Fred of a crucial truth. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an essential form of self-care that allows you to be whole for others. Encouraged by this advice, Mr. Fred decided to start setting boundaries lovingly and firmly. He learned that saying no was sometimes necessary to prioritize his own well-being. As a result, he was able to reclaim time for his own priorities and, to his surprise, found that it also improved his relationships. By valuing his own peace, Mr. Fred became more present and attentive to his family's needs without feeling overwhelmed. What science says: Studies show that people who set clear boundaries experience lower levels of stress and anxiety. Additionally, they develop a greater sense of control and mental clarity, promoting a more balanced and healthy quality of life. Even Jesus demonstrated the importance of setting boundaries. In Matthew 14, verse 23, he withdrew from the crowds to pray and spend time alone with God. Despite the many demands surrounding him, Jesus showed us that moments of self-care are essential for renewing energy and being whole for others. Want more help with boundaries? We have a special video here on the channel that discusses how to set boundaries with love and respect. It's a valuable opportunity to learn how to protect your peace without sacrificing your relationships. Don't miss it. Continuing, let's now explore the next habit every senior should cultivate. A simple practice that can completely transform how you view aging. Curious to know what it is? Let's discover it together now. The final habits, a path to healing and purpose. We've saved these last two habits for the end, because this is where everything comes together. The moments when we can truly see the beauty of life, acknowledge its meaning, and let go of what no longer serves our soul. This is the time to look back and leave behind the burdens of anguish, regret, and resentment, choosing to carry forward only the things that uplift your spirit and honor your journey. Every life, no matter how challenging, holds its worth and its purpose. If you're watching this video, listening to these words at this point in your life, it's because you agree with me. We're here to grow, to evolve, and to support humanity's evolution. Every small act of love, of self-care, of forgiveness, including forgiving yourself for the things you cannot change, adds to this greater purpose. What's truly inspiring is knowing that God can do anything. He can reach into your past, and with His divine grace, He can heal it. What is broken can be restored. What hurts can be soothed. You only need to believe and have faith. 6. Cultivate forgiveness. Mr. John, now in his 70s, carried the weight of resentments for many years. Old disputes with family members had left scars on his heart, and those feelings seemed to seep into every part of his life. For the longest time, he felt stuck in a cycle of bitterness that prevented him from experiencing true joy. But through a conversation with a dear friend, he began to understand the transformative power of forgiveness. And not just forgiveness toward others, but the forgiveness he needed to offer himself, for the decisions he regretted, for the paths not taken, for all the imperfections that he once saw as failures. One evening, after reading a passage from the Bible, Mr. John decided to take the first step. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, he said, but about letting go of what's holding me back. From that day forward, he described an overwhelming sense of peace, like shedding a heavy cloak he had carried for too long. Research shows that forgiveness can improve mental health, lower blood pressure, and reduce chronic stress. It's a powerful tool not only for emotional healing, but also for physical well-being, helping you to live longer and with more vitality. The Bible speaks beautifully about forgiveness. In Matthew 6, verse 14, Jesus reminds us, "If you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." Forgiveness is an act of liberation, not just for those we forgive, but for ourselves. It's a way to align with God's grace and open our hearts to His love. Now take a moment to reflect. Is there someone you need to forgive today? Or is that person yourself? With God's guidance, healing is always possible. 7. Nourish your faith. For Mrs. Margaret, who recently turned 68, her faith has been her anchor through every season of life. Whether in moments of joy or hardship, she turns to prayer, scripture, and worship as a source of strength. She says, "My faith is what gives me hope, even on the hardest days." Faith, whether practiced quietly in daily prayer or celebrated in a community, provides a foundation for resilience. It reminds us that no matter how uncertain life may feel, there's a greater plan, a divine order that holds us steady. What science says. Studies show that engaging in spiritual practices can lower levels of cortisol, reduce anxiety, and improve mental clarity. Faith can also enhance social connections, providing a sense of belonging and comfort. Faith goes beyond the physical and emotional. It feeds the soul. As Hebrews 11 verse 1 beautifully puts it, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith doesn't eliminate life's challenges. It gives us the strength to face them with grace and courage. These final two habits, practicing forgiveness and nurturing your faith, are the cornerstones of finding peace, purpose, and joy in your golden years. When you allow forgiveness to heal your heart and faith to guide your steps, you're choosing to live a life that honors the unique journey you've been on. Every life matters. Every life, even those marked by pain or hardship, holds extraordinary value. And the fact that you're here, watching this video, reflecting on these words, shows that you're ready to embrace this truth and carry it forward. Together, we can evolve and inspire humanity through simple acts of love, self-care, and hope. If you've made it this far, I want to say how proud I am of you for investing in your growth and well-being. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with 3 friends who might need to hear these words. Let's spread this message of healing and purpose to those who need it most. Thank you for being here. May God bless your journey with peace, joy, and love. Until next time.